It's time to go big or go home. Welcome to Photography Out Loud. As your host, my name is Paul Davis, and I'm with Joel Longbone. Joel, this is different again.
We have a lot of cables.
I have a lot of cables.
We definitely need to tidy that up for next time.
It's like we just decided that we were just about to do it this way, like half an hour ago.
Who would ever think that? We're very organised.
Very, very strange.
Aren't we, James?
Most definitely.
Yeah. And yes, it's a very special episode because this week we have just sitting off to the side of us, we have James from Fuji with us. So, nice little transitions there as well.
Let's do that.
Look at that! Yeah.
Oh, we could do like a fade and all sorts.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be a show about like Fuji coming.
Do you want to buy a Black Magic?
Yeah, that's what it's actually turning into. Is Black Magic?
Video on this game up.
So how's your week been, Joel?
Yeah, good.
This is thrown you now, hasn't it?
It's vanished. It's just I don't even know what I've done this week.
Yeah. Where are we looking now anyway? Am I looking at you? Am I looking down there?
Probably both.
Oh, okay.
I can't really see. I need my glasses. It's not good to see.
So had a good week, but just vanished.
Yeah, it's been good because we've had customers and the weather's been nice and things like that. But I just feel like I've done a lot of things, but I just get to the end of the day going, oh, where's all that gone?
Where's all that time gone?
How about you? How's your week been?
It's been all right, yeah. Do you normally answer it that way as well?
What?
Like ask me that way?
I try to.
Okay.
Sometimes you just don't answer.
Yeah. Can I not answer now?
No, because that'd be rude.
It's been good. Once again, amazing customers again this week, which has been awesome.
Sure.
So,
and we sold some nice Fuji today.
Yeah, it's been right. Are you button pushing?
You're not. We just got this odd voice in the background.
Yes, the voice of James. But yeah, I think we had one of our first sort of demo days again, didn't we? Today, so
good. It's good to have Rich and James, and customers conversing with one another on the Fuji counter.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, socially distancing, of course,
with masks.
Yeah. So I have to say though,
which is what is annoying me about my beard.
Yeah,
wearing the mask has made it go wonky. Can't wait for no masks.
Yeah. So brilliant day. We've been able to demo the GFX range and obviously the FX range as well, which has been really, really cool. And we're going to do some of that live here as well for you today as well. So if you have any questions on the GF or GFX system, it's FX.
GFX.
Sorry,
XX series.
Yeah.
Or the XF lens.
X series.
X mount.
I think I need to go back to Fujifilm training. And
at least he said Fujifilm.
I know. You know what? Yeah, yeah. I've been practicing so hard.
A camera lined up, ready for press ups. 10 press ups.
Because Rich is literally just down the.
He is.
So he could physically come.
Although he's probably having a nap. Yeah. Just quickly. Having a siesta after fish and chips.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah. Right.
Is there any news?
I don't know. Is there?
I don't know.
Have you checked?
No. Have you?
No.
Well, that's good.
Right. We'll have to say, right. The news this week is that we've been trying really, really hard to figure out ways that we're going to improve Photography Out Loud, haven't we?
Yes.
So hence why we're back on dual screen, and there's a lovely little monitor thing in front of us now that's doing this. So
it's got shiny lights.
Yeah, that one's red. That one's
red, and
that one's white. That one's white. That one's white.
I don't think there's a green one. Does this one turn green?
Maybe.
I don't know. Yeah. Bye, guys.
So that's the news generally this week is that we have been doing a lot of brainstorming, a lot of thinking on how we're going to be improving the show, and it really starts off. I don't know. The production quality might improve. The content, I'm not too sure, but we do have experts.
Just be really good quality.
But
nonsense.
Yeah, good quality nonsense. But then on top of that, what we are doing is we get wonderful guests in like James to come in.
That's yet to be decided. That he's
No,
wonderful.
because we've had him on poll before. So.
Yeah, but you're only as good as your last game.
No pressure.
Just a flick over.
I'm going to get used to these button pushing now, definitely. So, but yeah, it's like I said, it's been an amazing day seeing some of the Fuji customers.
I don't know if the highlight was the
Fujifilm
fact that we had
customers.
Krispy Kreme donuts.
Yeah, it's been very good.
Then Rich, then James. I don't know.
So
apologies. You didn't buy lunch. I got to be nice to Rich.
Yeah, fair.
So are we going to talk a little bit about why we're here today and the wonderful system?
Like an existential answer to why we're on the planet, or why we're here to talk about cameras?
No, I think.
So I feel like James would prefer the existential question.
we could go to either or. So.
Let's talk about cameras.
Let's talk about cameras. And I think one of the main sort of things that we wanted to is just having that massive sensor in the GFX system, isn't it?
It's pretty bonkers. We were talking to Rich earlier, weren't we?
Are we going
Your hands as soon as you move.
We should have a little light. But we were talking to Rich about the technology of the GFX and what it looked like with the 50S a few years ago, and what the future will look like, and what the camera can develop into. But even just, we were saying, if somebody had said even 5 years ago, having a 100 megapixel medium format sensor, image stabilized in a body that was the size of an average DSLR, you'd have gone, ooh,
yeah,
that's probably not going to happen. But here we are with a technological marvel. And then the GFX.
But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, as you say, 5 years ago, 100 megapixels on medium format would have been like decent house deposit money or even car money. And now, 5,500 is obviously £5,500, but relatively speaking, for medium format, it's really cheap, effectively. But also as well, it makes it attainable for those who are very much enjoying their photography. They're committed enthusiasts and are looking for the best quality possible. But also as well, for working pros, it gives that kind of quality without having to spend so much money. The less we have to spend, always the better. So. But
even on top of that side of things, like the size, like getting somebody to move over from Nikon or Canon's DSLR range, like a 1DX, it's bigger than that, isn't it? Like in a 5D Mark IV compared to that is.
Yeah, how much is a 5D Mark IV?
Just Googling away.
Other search engines are available.
Yeah.
I know so that's 900 grams, whereas the 5D4, why in ounces? 800 grams. There's not much in it. What was it? Multi-pack of Mars bars, I think we worked out as an imperial measurement.
Yeah.
There's a multi-pack of Mars bars between them. So it's a lightweight camera, and to have a sensor, because it's, if you give me a fraction of a millimeter each way, it's 44 by 33 mil as a size. So massive sensor with high resolution in a body that's physically slightly smaller, lighter, or about the same kind of size equivalent DSLRs in full frame, and about the same kind of weight. Why wouldn't you, really?
And also taking into consideration the fact that it has built-in image stabilization.
Yeah,
that's just next level, considering that you don't even get that in DSLR.
Yeah, I think it's something that a customer said before today was like, yes, we've looked at the sort of, the rough size and the rough weight of it. But I mean, if you're carrying around something like a 5D Mark IV and an 850D, it's not much more like carrying around like physically, the way that it grips in the hand and things like that.
And they've made it feel that way as well, haven't they?
Like
the spinny things, the dials on the thumb and the forefinger. And it's got the spam, PASM, whatever.
Massive MASP, whichever way you want to call it. And so that dial as well. Well, what I'd like to do is go through on this as well, because we're talking about controls, is go through and show you guys how I have my camera set up.
Yeah.
How some of the controls can be set up, why I have it set up as I do, Obviously answer any questions from people that are coming in about their settings and how they use it. But also kind of go into some of the slightly more niche stuff like the pixel shift.
Ooh. So this is where Fujifilm just go and flex massively by saying, we'll take the 100 megapixels and raise you several hundred more.
Yeah, it's a beast. It really is.
And then his computer will melt.
Yeah, that's right. It's cold in here. And yeah, absolutely fine.
Cool. Let's crack on.
So James, are you gonna show us a quick setup of how you get your camera sort of set up then? So
yeah,
we go through some of that, yeah.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll go through. We'll cut to the rear screen of the camera in a second. You'll see that the rear screen is black because obviously we're in the studio. And if you take the lens cap off, you'll just see all the myriad of health and safety.
What do you mean? Everything's taped down or has that matting across it?
Yeah,
There's
fine.
no cables.
It's all
1.5 feet above the ground.
That cable is definitely dangling.
No, it's fine. Everything's fine. So I'll go through on the camera and show you all the menus and bits, how I have my camera set, but also as well how it can be set for how you might want to use it. Because in an ideal world, much as this would be a camera that Fujifilm users come into, and they are, we realise that obviously people come in from other brands as well. So I can show you how to replicate controls that you might be more comfortable with or familiar with, and how you can use it as well. So if we ping over, I guess, to the screen, there we go. So as I said, black screen there. Hopefully everyone can see the exposure meter and all.
Right, how many comments will we get saying you've not taken this off?
Well, otherwise it'll just be studio time. So this is your home screen. Obviously you have an image there normally. The menu operation is pretty simple. So if you go into menu, you'll come across.
It's like picture in picture.
Put us in the
Take a
corner.
picture in picture of him.
I got to like move it. Oh, there we go. Out the
Moving
way.
around.
You can put him there talking instead of us.
Can I put James in that
Yeah.
one?
Can you put the picture in picture on the bottom right hand side? Would that be all right, please?
There.
Yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
anyway, really. So there we go. So this is your main menus as you come through, and you can use the joystick, and it goes. The main menus are on the left hand side. You go up and down. Sub menus are main menus on the left, sub menus on the right. And you can either move right or left on the joystick to move across, or you can press menu and back depending on what you want to do. Now I'm going to go through into the controls first of all. So if you are, for example, a Nikon shooter, you're probably used to having your aperture set on the front command dial. Well, I'm on screen settings, button dial settings, that's gone well. Command dial settings, it's in there. So if you're a Nikon shooter, at the moment I've got it set for more of a kind of Canon-centric use. So you can go at the moment shutter speed. I might want to use it for aperture if you don't want to use the aperture ring. And you'll see here there are 3 options for the front command dial. So the front command dial, basically you can click in between the two. So you can go, for example, aperture and then maybe ISO. Or if you want to be really avant-garde, you can have aperture, ISO and shutter speed all on the same dial.
The exposure triangle.
So does
on one
that-
finger?
So
Yeah, exactly.
does that button click? Did you say that?
Yeah, it clicks in. So once you've wound in your aperture or whatever, click it into the body, push it in, and that will switch to the next one in sequence. This will be ISO.
Ooh.
And then, of course, as there's none on 3, then you won't have anything there.
So it like rotates.
Yeah, it
Through.
just
So
constant
like
controls.
click. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then on the rear, we can set the shutter speed to their old program shift if you're using it program. Now, your exposure compensation, you can either set it to the front or rear command dial, or both, again, depending on how you want to use it. I prefer to have it on the back, but we're a broad church, set it as you like to. So that's all that. Now, so that's your command dial settings. That's set for how you want. And underneath, you'll also see as well command dial direction. So for me, I'm always kind of less on the left, more on the right. But again, you can change those independently as you want to. So that's just the basic interaction. You'll also see as well function settings up here. Now, this is the long way around to getting through to the function buttons, because anything that hasn't got any writing on it, you can pretty much change if you want to. Or even some of the ones that have, so AF on, for example, you can chop and change.
And if you hold them down.
Yeah, well, on this, it's a slightly different way of working. So if we go back to the screen, so this is your main screen, you take your image. If you push and hold display back for 4 seconds, it'll take you through to this screen.
Ooh.
And this is the quick way of doing it. You can replicate it through the menus, but this is the quick way. And that gives you the option of changing all your function buttons as you want, even the touchscreen swipes as well, because it has got full touchscreen swipes. And you don't have to have them. As you can see, I personally don't use them, so I turn them off. But there are little things that
Are you anti touchscreen?
Not anti-touchscreen, I'm just anti using it as a button for taking a photo. I like to use it for reviewing. Reviewing is wonderful. Double tap the screen and it will enlarge the image. You can move around the screen and you can pinch and zoom and do all that jazz.
I think there's something about like, you know, like when you're actually shooting and the physical, it's like, right, that button's in, and almost like, even if you can't hear it, even if you're in a loud environment, essentially, you know, you can potentially hear it go like.
It's a tactile thing.
You
feel it's the same with. So I tend to autofocus on the shutter button. I don't back button focus, but I like that kind of first stage on the shutter button. I can feel its focus. Yeah, sure. Even though I could get the same thing from a rear button, back button focus on the thumb, I just like that first position, so I can just hold it so it's ready to take the shot. But personal preference, as I said, they can be set up pretty much as you want to. So we'll go to the function screen here. So that's exposure compensation. That's the default setting for it. And then these two buttons up here, you can use that. I think by default is set for changing the top screen, because the top screen can be changed as well. Pretty much loads of stuff on this can be changed.
All the things can be changed.
But I've got it set for focus bracketing, and I'm going to go to focus bracketing in a bit as well, because I'll be talking about the custom dial settings, because that's a big thing with this. But so I've got that there, and you'll notice here on the top, on the front of the camera, function 4 is playback. Now I tend to have that set to playback on all of my Fujifilm cameras, because they all have playback buttons in slightly different positions, which is not a bad thing. It's just for muscle memory. If I'm using my X-T4 or my X Pro 3 or my 100S or whatever, as they're in slightly different positions, I want the playback button to be in the same place every time. So I have it on what would be a depth of field preview button on an SLR. I have it on the front, just here. Oh, we're gone. Hang on. Just there, in there, if you can see it. Just that button there, because for muscle memory, it makes it easier for me because I don't have auto review turned on. But you can change it as you want to. We go back to the there we go. So we've got all the function buttons here. There's function swipes, and a similar thing. As I said, I don't use the AF on, so I've got that set for dynamic range modes. Rear command dial by default is set for focus checking. So when I'm in manual focus, it's focus checking. But just to show you the level of customization you've got 8 pages. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I'll scroll through so that if you want to find one that you're looking for, you can find it when you play this back. Lots of stuff on there, so you can tweak entirely as you want to. Now, I talked about the custom modes as well, and that's a big thing for the GFX 100S. If you go through, this is in a slightly, not necessarily an odd place, but a slightly odd place. It will be in IQ. It's not odd, it's just different. I was going to try and find it. Right, here we go. In image quality, edit save custom settings. So on the 100X, or GFX 100S on the top, you've got 6 custom settings that you can chop and change. Now I've got my custom 1 set for, we'll go through to custom 1. So I've got custom 1 set for focus bracketing. So I've selected that now. And by default, I've got it set for aperture priority. I've chosen my aperture, my exposure compensation, and my drive mode is set for focus bracketing. But you can really get into it and kind of choose all sorts of things. So you can go through and change even aspect ratio, file size, whatever you're doing, even stuff like whether or not you're using compressed, uncompressed, or lossless, compressed, raw. Your film simulation, that should be set to Acros. Everything should be set.
We're not prescriptive in any way, but Acros should be the only.
Acros is the one. I think I probably said to you before, but I took colour photo on my 50R and posted it on my Instagram, my personal Instagram. The marketing manager sent me a message going, is your camera broken? Send it in. Because it was in Velvia, which for a sunrise or sunset is perfect, but black and white life for the win. So we can go through, we can change all of this, and obviously you've got the monochromatic colour as well. All of this jazz as you want to, but even as well, your AF modes, pretty much everything. So that's what I've got set for focus bracketing. But if you're doing, let's cancel that because I filled. There we go. But you can chop and change. So you've got 6 custom settings. So and also as well, you can have them auto update. So I've set that to disable. So now if I go through and edit and check and go into custom bracketing or custom 1, we get that film simulation hasn't updated. But if you are working and you want to, it's gone back to standard. If you are working and you want to have it update, then you can have it auto update as well. But it means that I can have custom 1 for focus bracketing, I can have custom 2 for landscapes, I could do custom 3 for sport, even choosing face detection, left or right eye priority, that kind of thing. So you can really drill into it in quite a heavy way. And you can do the same thing for movie as well. So if you want to do one movie in F-Log, you want to do another one in black and white, of course. You want to do one in 4K or 1080 or however you can do. So it's a really, really customizable camera so that you can get the best out of it and out of the sensor and out of the lenses that you possibly can.
Yeah, it's cool. There's so many intricate ways, isn't there, or what's the word? Customizable ways of making it exactly the camera you want, which goes along with that comment from earlier about going from one camera manufacturer to Fujifilm, and being able to set it up the way that you've always had it. So if you've been shooting on Canon, for instance, for 20 years, moving over with a bit of help, or YouTube, or James,
or your local camera shop.
Oh yeah, we forgot something, didn't we?
And getting it set up for the way you work, then it should be a more pain-free process.
Yeah, I mean, I've changed a lot of people over from a lot of systems, and once you've kind of got the controls set in a way
that's have it in a book, like that's another one.
That's another one. No. But if you can have it set and make the transition a little bit easier, then that's all good. But not only that, it's not just for people coming into the system from outside. It's people that are already in it. As I said, because I'm in the very fortunate position of having the whole range, X series and GFX. They all handle slightly differently in button placement. When an X Pro 3 has a different button placement to an XT3, for example. Sure. So I can set a certain number of controls to be a similar kind of thing. So even when I'm picking them up and playing with them on a day-to-day basis, the not shock between the two, but the differences between the two are more seamless for me because I have a set way of working. So it makes life easier. Anything that makes life easier is better as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And so you have a dishwasher, a washing machine, and a dryer?
No, I just eat takeout.
That's the ultimate.
Thankfully, if you're filming from the...
I'm on a long lens.
Yeah, exactly. Wide angle everywhere. But talking of making things easy as well, going through and we talk about the ISO as well before I get into focus property. So auto ISO is something that I say to people that I use, and you get some people who are purists and use manual only, and fair enough, but they'll look at me like I said, I just sketch the image, which is fair enough, it's all good, but I tend to use auto ISO a decent amount to the point I use it so often that once I've set it, I can't find it. Where's it gone? Let's go out this way. So if we go through. Let's push the function button there, and that's bringing up the auto ISO. So you've got 3 auto ISOs, 1, 2, and 3, and I have them set all for pretty much the same kind of thing. So I have my base 100, my maximum sensitivity, as I said, because I'm shooting black and white, 12,800 ISO, which a lot of people look at me again, like I said, I just use, I just draw it. 12,800 ISO all the way up. I tend to find that it's absolutely clean as whistle at 3,200.
Yeah.
You start to get a little bit of grain at 6,400.
But given you only shoot in black and white,
it makes no bones.
Does it matter?
That's absolutely fine. It makes no bones at all. And even in the colour, to be fair, the noise is very well controlled. You get a little bit of grain, but not too much chroma noise. So it's pleasing, essentially. You don't look at it and go, well, it's just a whole bag of static. So it's quite nice.
And obviously the nice thing about having those 3 different auto modes is that you can have one that's like really, really high.
Well, yeah, we go through. So this is auto 1, and I have auto 1 set. Again, this is set across all cameras. I have auto 1 set for, always have it set to base. I have it set to top of 12,800. And the minimum shutter speed, I usually have, depending on the camera, about a 60th or an 80th. I tend to use a 60th on cameras with IBIS and an 80th on cameras without. And then I have auto 2 set for either double base, so 1/25th, and auto 3 set for double that. So 60th, 1/25th, 250th, or 80th, 160, and then usually 250 or 320. But you can choose essentially what you're doing. So if I'm just doing kind of standard shots and nothing's really moving, that one's absolutely fine. If I'm doing people that are moving, if we're trying to do street work, for example, 125th gives just a little bit of heel lift, but not too much. It still freezes the action, but you get the heel lift. And then 250s when I'm using very long lenses, or I've had too much coffee, or it's too windy, or I just need to have that stability for it. So those 3 auto ISOs allow me to quickly run the camera, because as long as the ISOs are running within a boundary that I'm happy with, I don't care what it's doing. If I'm shooting a headshot, as long as I'm shooting kind of over 125th of a second or 60th, or depending on how much they're moving, if I'm shooting over my base shutter speed, I don't care if it's at 125th or 500th or 1000th or whatever, because once I'm over a baseline, they're not moving anyway. So it doesn't matter. So it gives me the flexibility to just concentrate on the shot. And then I tend to run it in aperture priority as well with the auto ISO, because I've already picked my base shutter speed. I've seen people doing shoots outside with flash work where they've had their shot set, but because they were outdoors and the light was going in and out behind a cloud, it's what, 2/3 of a stop difference, maybe a stop difference between. So I had the auto ISO set for a stop separately, and that just took the stress out of it, because they're not having to meter every time they shoot and slow the shooting down.
Makes sense.
So it's very fast to use, but obviously you can grab it by the scruff of the neck and use it in full manual as well. No harm, no foul if you do, or however you want to use it, really.
Sounds good.
Oh, brilliant. Now, you tried to explain it before, James, and I think I got maybe 90% of it. So
The
you knew what was coming, didn't you? You knew what was coming. Did you see my eyes glaze over when you were trying to explain it? That's what it was. That's what gave it away. That's what gave it away. So yeah, I'm assuming, obviously having something with image stabilizer built into the body, not only do you get something that can be, something that's 100 megapixels and image stabilized, but there's other features for it as well.
Yeah, entirely. So on the we've got the pixel shift, which you can now run as either a 400 megapixel image or a 100 megapixel image, but they will both give you no false color. And when I say no false color, what I mean is that on all cameras with Bayer or X-trans sensors, a pixel will only record the light that it's seeing. So if it's a green pixel, it will only record green light. If it's a red pixel, it will only record red light. So it then has to work out, based on what it's seeing, how much of the other colors is coming through that pixel. So obviously our colors are exceptional, we're known for that, and they're very accurate. But if you're looking for absolutely critical perfection, so the example I always use, if you're archiving the Mona Lisa for future generations, you want it to be absolutely on the nose, absolutely bob on. You can use the pixel shift option on camera in the drive mode to get true color. So as I said, you can either do that at 100 megapixels and keep the excellent resolution that you're already going to get, or you can do it as a 400 megapixel image as well. So if you need to blow it up. And I'll talk to you about the 400 megapixel in detail. The same principle applies to the 100 meg. So if we go onto the back of the camera for a second, if you push your drive button, you'll see down at the bottom here, you've got pixel shift multi-shot, and you've got options here between short, 1 second, 2 second, 5 second, 15 second. These are your intervals between the shots. And what it will do is it will pop the camera into electronic shutter, and it will shoot a sequence of 16 shots. It'll shoot a 16 shot sequence and move the pixels around. So if you, each pixel, as I said, if you've got a green pixel, it will move the sensor so that that green pixel's position is now covered by a blue and then by a red. Do that, give you 16 shots, that will give you a movement of half a pixel width. So your photo site's basically quarter in size. So you're getting a lot of detail, higher resolution, and no false color or true color. Now, obviously, because the sensor is moving around using the IBIS system at half a pixel's width and movement, you've got a couple of warnings on how to use it. So you're going to need to use an extremely firm, steady tripod.
No bouncy floors.
No bouncy floors at all. Sprung floors or anything like that. No, it needs to be an absolutely solid floor. Even in kind of
you
London,
must carry a block of concrete everywhere you go.
Ready mix, ready to go.
When they were testing it in Japan, I think they did it on a marble floor.
Wow.
So yeah, it's really, even if I've tried it in London on over the top of the underground, on kind of Tottenham Court Road and Oxford Street, and you can actually, you can't feel the underground going through, but the camera will pick it up if you're not careful. So it needs to be properly solid, a really solid tripod.
So you're going to use it for an earthquake sensor?
You know what? You probably could. You probably could.
What was that on the Richter scale?
Yeah, it's just all the images are going like this. Oh, we're in trouble.
Yeah. At least we have a picture in high res.
Evidence of it. So a really firm tripod, and if possible, fewer leg sections would probably be better for you. I've got
basically 3 scaffold poles.
Properly, so if you look at it, I don't want to carry it. You're probably in the ball.
Yeah.
So I've got a 190, which is a 3 set. No, it's a 4 section, it's either 3 or 4.
Oh dear.
We can change that.
It's so small and light, I can't remember. But and that is, I think it's a 3 section, and that's kind of on the boundary.
So you know 5.5.
Yeah, I know 5.5 would probably be better. If in doubt, overcompensate.
Or it gets so systematic.
Yeah, well, it's fine. Use that, that's no stress.
TMA 38 from memory.
But if you're trying to do it on kind of like a 30 quid, nothing lightweight tripod.
A no brand.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be as successful as you'd hope.
Especially if you're going to a portrait mode.
Yeah, straight over. So the 16 shots will run as a sequence. The camera will do them on the drive, and you want the shortest interval between each shot as possible. The reason we give you an option is that if you're shooting with flash, for example, say for product photography, you've got to let the flashes recycle. If you're shooting the interior of a cathedral or a massive building or something like that, you'll need your flashes to recharge. So the shortest interval that allows you to have your flashes recharge, or just generally as short as possible, would be better. You've got to have it on the firm tripod as well. Even stuff like, because of the precision of the mechanism, turn it on and leave it for like 10 to 15 minutes, just to kind of come up to ambient temperature. So if you're running around in the sun, take it straight into an air-conditioned building, let it just rest, turn it on, vice versa as well. If you are using flash, it will flash.
A thermometer.
Yeah.
And a barometer.
That's it. Just make sure everything's fine. If you are using flash, it will sync at a 1/5 of a second on the electronic flash, because it's electronic shutter, so a 1/5 of a second will do it. And always go for kind of the widest illumination angle you can as well. I'm trying to think what other warnings or it's a hardcore thing. If possible, kind of you can stop it down. I've used mine at f16, f22, depending on the lens I'm using, but in an ideal world, probably about f11 would probably be a good place to go. And also as well, if you've got a chance to, if there's a preference, probably not an image stabilized lens. Again, I've used it with the 250 and the 120 f4. They've been absolutely fine. But if you had a choice, then probably not. And the reason is the stabilization unit is electromagnetically stabilized, it's not mechanically locked. So again, if you're using a decent tripod, you're not going to get any float anyway. But as always, these are the textbook stuff. We work outside that a little bit.
So half expected him to have a ream of paper, the old school one.
You know what it feels like to me? It's like some of those videos games you have to get, and you have to hit a certain amount of things before you can unlock a special power.
That's essentially it. But once you do unlock the power,
is there like a cheat code?
But once you do that, once you sort, I don't make it sound harder than it is. Be sensible. Don't move. Use a solid tripod. That's essentially it. Once
no
you've done
alcohol
that,
or too much caffeine.
Yeah, no, it's on a tripod, so you can drink as much coffee
as long as you lean against it.
Just don't dance next to it. Once you've done that, you'll get 16 images out, which you use our pixel shift combiner software, imaginatively named. Does what it says on the tin, as they say.
You could call it Magic Box.
We could do.
The Pixel Magic
I'll feed it back.
Yeah. Put it on the long list of feed. That's
Magic Pixel Box. So put it into the Pixel Shift Combiner. That's a free bit of software. You just download it from our website. You don't have to register.
Well, that is a relief. It's free.
It should be. It is. Loads of our widgets are. They're all free, I think. So the webcam, which I'd normally be using, I did last time I was talking to you guys. X4 Studio, Fujifilm X Acquire. They're all freebies. You can download them off our website. And then you highlight the images. You've got the 16-shot sequence. Pop them in a combiner, hit go, and it will combine them all. Then the output is a 1.4 gig DMG file.
So at this point, we also need to suggest in your list of things, solid tripod, etc., a laptop or computer that is maybe only a couple of years old.
Yeah.
Or newer.
We have to be.
I think we talked about this last time though, and I think it was more of a it was a time scale thing, wasn't it? So I think most computers will do it. It's just how long you want it to wait.
How many do we measure it in how many cups of tea you can finish?
So this is, I'm using at the moment a base spec, what was it, 2017 MacBook Pro. So that is, I'll tell you exactly what it's doing. It is 2.3 gig dual core i5 with 8 gig of RAM. And it will process the files. It's absolutely fine. It takes about 5-6 minutes, give or take, to combine it all together to give you the 1.4 gig DMG file. So yeah, you've got to be realistic about workflow. Flip side, if you go absolutely crazy and buy something like a Mac Pro that I was using the other day in a studio, combine the whole thing in like 20 seconds. But
Wow.
it costs enough that you can have that or a Porsche. So it's your choice. But yeah, the combined three takes about 5 minutes on this. So anything decent, you tried it on your MacBook Air, which is an M1, I think.
Yes.
And it took, what, 2-3 minutes, if
That's
that?
pretty rapid.
Yeah, exactly. And then a DMG file you can open up in Lightroom, Capture One, whatever you fancy, whatever your preferred choice is. I guess it's a DMG, Lightroom or Capture One. And then you can go into it and then add some sharpening. Because as default, it will come out with no sharpening on it at all. Add the sharpening in and you'll be extremely surprised with just how much.
It's like a pixel peeper's dream, isn't it?
I think it is
400 megapixels.
And I think that is, I don't know whether it is niche, because I know a lot of people that like doing it, but it's like it's like part of photography that's just like, I need a Joel analogy probably in a second, but just going in and like going, I want to zoom in, and I want to zoom in, and
It's like a car enthusiast putting it on a dyno and testing the engine and going, oh, it peaks at 4,000 RPM at 5,000 torques, like that. That's basically what you mean.
And is there people like that?
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, is there? Okay. So yeah, I think we're doing it like, because I think I showed you some samples of what I did the other day, and it's just like, obviously I don't need to show James what the images come out of like the 100 and the 50 are, but I just couldn't help myself, because it was just like, I need to go and show somebody how much detail is like in these images. You just have this like overwhelming like look of like,
well, it's like a brand new sound system, isn't it? And you listen to, even just through some standard earphones and headphones, and then you go and listen to it on a really good sound system, or you go to the cinema to watch a film, and you're like, I didn't realize there was that sound in the background.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that's how deep the rumble was of that train passing or that jet flying over. And it's the same with photography, isn't it? There's a photograph. Most people would argue a phone takes a pretty good photograph, but you zoom in and it's like a smushy mess.
Yeah.
You take a picture of that and it looks good, and then you go in and go,
Whoa.
oh wow. I remember taking a picture of the Peacock photo, the 50S when it first came out, and going in and you can count the individual are they called fronds? Maybe barbs. I think they might be barbs. I'm sure somebody will tell me I'm wrong or right on YouTube. But yeah, you can individually count. It's almost like having a microscope.
Yeah.
It's bonkers. What are you smiling at?
I just pointed down.
Oh, I see.
Uh-oh, I've been moving hands. I've been caught up before.
Yeah. There's a meme coming.
Oh no.
Well, this exactly is. So for the detail work, I mean, it's not just going to be for kind of people doing reproducing artwork or anything like that. We talk to a lot of people who are doing product photography as well, and they need to have the flexibility of being able to kind of offer clients the option of kind of blowing up massively, because a decent sized print is a wonderful thing, but what if you want to put it on a billboard at really high resolution? You can do. So there's a whole load of different uses for it that you can kind of pick out. To the point, I was doing a shoot with a photographer 2-3 weeks ago, and we did manual focus stacking whilst using the pixel shift as well. So it was a 400 meg pixel shift image, move the focus, pixel shift image, move the focus. It was, but then the final size at the back end of it was 300 DPI. It was 2 meters by 1.5 meters. So absolutely massive. But then they're going to have the flexibility to be able to offer the client and go, yeah, whatever size you want, it's fine. Don't worry about it. So it gives you that as well. It's something nice to play with as well. As if you're going for extremely accurate color renditions, so I'm expecting people that are very much into macro as well. If they need to go absolutely accurate on colors, you can do the 100 megapixel shift on it as well and get them absolutely bob on. But again, we're talking on saying accurate colors. The thing to bear in mind, and I said this to you earlier, Paul, when I showed you the presentation, of going between 400 meg and going, look how much detail and accurate colours there are against a standard 100 meg. Let's all remember that 100 megapixel medium format is still phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like we're going, oh, you have to use this on a tripod or it will be rubbish. It's amazing and phenomenal. It's just, I like to put it Porsche, and Porsche 911 Turbo is fast. GT2 RS is faster, but I'm happy with
geeking out
Turbo.
now, yes.
So it's all good. So it's different. It's horses for courses as well.
And it's understanding it's a tool at the end of the day and knowing what job you're trying to achieve with that tool. And I think it's true of all photography, really, isn't it? There are people that just see numbers and go, ooh, that's amazing. But at other times, I was watching a YouTube video about resolution size and seeing whether people could tell the difference, but then also seeing how well the ISO performed on different cameras and seeing what's more important is the dynamic range and the ability to pull out detail in what's essentially a dark room. And just understanding why you'd use that is a big part of whether it makes sense for you to use that function or not. But it is like ultimate flex by Fujifilm, isn't it?
And even I know you've obviously got like the pixel shift there as well, but like you were saying, it's just like the colors are so true, like coming out of it. So I think we like put one through like the color checker passport. Normally what you do to get within a color lookup table to get it like close to where it actually needs to be. And I think when applying like the profile that we made with the color checker passport, there was like, well, probably change, but like
indiscernible.
It was so small.
I remember you doing that because you came to me and went,
I didn't know if it was working or not. It's just like, have I done this color checker passport right? So
all their copying work with the camera is done on GFX now because it's just like bang, job done.
No stress, no dramas.
Yeah.
Well, I mentioned after the pixel shift, I said about the shots I was doing with the photographer about focus stacking. Now on this, and this will be on a few of the others as well, we do focus bracketing, which I'll go through with you as well. I'll show you on the screen. So if you aren't doing macro or anything like that, but you want to do focus bracketing, we have two ways of doing it. You can either do it the manual way, which is you choose your interval between each shots and the amount the lens will shift between each shot as well, the focus will shift. Or you can do it the fast way, which is how I tend to do it, which is go in auto and let it do it. So I'll show you this on the camera. So if you go into your drive mode, go up to bracket and then choose focus bracketing just there. I haven't gone through my custom menu, I'm just doing this the long way around. On custom mode, of course, I've got it set already. So we choose that, choose focus bracketing. You'll see on the left-hand side there's focus bracketing. Now, if you remember from my function buttons, I've got the top button set to focus bracket mode. So it'll take you straight through and it gives you this option, manual or auto. As I said, I like to keep things simple, so auto. Now, it'll then give you an interval, so that's the interval between each shot. And then once you go through and press, okay, I'm going to take it from this. Normally, you'd have your image here. So you would then turn the focus ring until you have point A, which would be your nearest point. So we'll go, whatever I'm shooting, let's have that as my nearest point. Press menu OK. Choose the back of the image, so point B, set the focus up the back here. And I tend to use focus bracketing for this. And then once you're happy and you've got whatever you want to be in focus through the stack done, just push the shutter button and it will go through and take the whole sequence through. Obviously it won't at the moment because I've got it on 5 minute exposure. But as you can see there, for that distance that I just chose, because I've got the 18 on 1.7 at the moment, it'll do 520 shots. Just for a short stack that was only kind of a really short distance.
So it worked out how many pictures are actually needed.
So it'll work out, it'll know your focal length, the aperture you're at, the distance that you're starting at, the distance that you're finishing at, and it will know how many shots it needs to stack to overlap. So for that was between probably about 60 centimeters to about 150 centimeters at 1.7 on 80 mil. It worked out in 520 shots. So, hey, that's what the engineers say it is, that's what it is. Obviously, that's an extreme example. If I was shooting it at F8, for example, you guys are, no, we probably won't shoot the studio because I could do a live demonstration. But in fact, hang on, let's do it this way.
Yeah.
Let's do it this way.
That's in high
Is that the right lens? Let's go with the 50.
It's still black.
It will be, that's fine.
Okay. Or
Always
move.
turn off your cameras when you change lenses.
Oh yeah, of course. That was the test, by the way, and you passed.
Thanks. Right, here we go. Black and white light.
Black and white, obviously. There we go.
Black and white light.
Oh, that's a lovely view, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it just? Okey-dokey. So let's go through to here. We are
Just
in
high
black
res.
focus.
This is the
Focus
this is the MTV look, isn't it?
Oh, the
Am I cool enough for MTV? I
Yeah.
don't think I am.
The
So start
MTV
here.
cut.
So point then, we're going to come through and change to smoothness as far as possible. So
Look
we're
to
going
my
to
arm
go
hair
for-
It makes you look manly, Joel, doesn't it?
Here's the table edge just here.
Yeah.
Then press menu OK again, and then go all the way back.
As it's peaking as well.
Yeah, I've got focus
Ooh.
peaking. You don't
Nice.
have to have red peaking highlights on. I just do because it contrasts mostly with nature. Let's go to
We are nature.
because we'll be here forever. So
3
let's just
hours
go to that.
later.
Pretty much. And then just press the shutter button and it'll go through. You can see there for this shot you need 72 because we're at 3.5 or 50 mil.
Oh, there goes the card.
Well, it is
Catching up.
shooting raw JPEG to be fair.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. It's not a very fast card, but you can see what the principle is. You can see it's stacking
Sounds
through.
like it's doing a drum beat.
It's a cool camera. It's really jazzy.
Yeah.
Um,
Just does it its own thing.
That's it. So then once the end of it, you'd have your sequence of, in this instance, 72 shots. You can put it into serene or whatever you fancy, whichever else you fancy. Put the lens cap on and turn it back around.
Considering that was, I mean, I'm sure you've got some sort of fast card in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have actually. So that was raw JPEG. So
But even still, like that was 72 images. I'm guessing at 100 megapixels.
yeah, full fat.
Yeah.
So that was raw file size. I think that's probably losses compressed. Let's have a look.
That was really quick to do 72 pictures,
Yeah.
and it took a while before it actually even started to.
That was uncompressed 14-bit with the JPEG, with the superfine JPEG as well, raw and JPEG. Yeah.
Has your camera ever just gone?
Yeah.
Just keep asking you to do too many things.
It's done it once. But I was in a store and I was using, I think it was the 80 again. Like it was a very narrow but long store, and I did 1.7 and did the whole thing, and it just looked at me and went, no. I think the card actually bailed out, to be fair, because it was about 1,000 images.
Goodness me.
Yeah, but it will be absolutely bob on. So that's focus bracketing in a nutshell.
That is very cool.
Yeah,
And
that's
just briefly, given that you obviously do a range of cameras,
Yes,
is focus bracketing available on?
I knew you were going to ask me. Yeah, I'm sure. No, it's on the. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
just so we got the shot there. That's
Yes.
James just googling away there. Yeah. So, well, I think this would be a good time, since that was a question, Joel, as well. Maybe if we look into some of the comments, see
Yeah.
what some people are saying.
Let's have a look.
Very graceful.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. The
Sorry.
XT4 does.
And we've got Ian. He says, "Afternoon, you two. Sorry, 3. Good to see you."
I know.
Andrew says, "Hi folks, this week isn't going to get expensive for me, is it?" Oh, well, we'll try our best
I
to
know.
make it expensive.
I kind of want one now.
Which one?
Just a Fuji.
Any of them?
No, 100.
Oh.
Obviously, you got to buy it for me.
Oh, by that you mean the business?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. My bank balance is not buying you a cheap lens. I wouldn't even buy you a lens cap. No, I'm just kidding. I'd buy you a lens cap.
Cheers, mate.
What's the smallest GFX lens cap?
The smallest GFX lens cap. Probably this on a 50 mil. That's was that 43 mil?
Martin says, "Hi guys, I hope you're keeping keeping busy." We are.
Thank you very much.
And Nige says, "Hi guys." Hi Nige. Good to see you earlier. Johnny Mo, afternoon likey lads. Afternoon, Johnny Mo. I hope you enjoyed your weekend last weekend. Martin says, "Hi, are you open all day on a Saturday?" We're open 10 till 4 on Saturday. As we are on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday.
You could have
Saturday.
just gone Monday to Saturday, 10
Could
to
have done,
4.
yeah. But I just wanted to re-emphasize. Oh, there we go. Sarah's on the job. She's
Ah,
been
there
putting
we
in
go.
comments.
Thank you very much, Sarah. It's good to have her
Um,
back, isn't it?
Graham says, "Late again." You said you were going to set a reminder, I'm sure, when I spoke to you on the phone earlier. But there we go. And look, it's Helen. We haven't seen Helen for a while.
Oh, hi,
Hello,
Helen. Thanks for joining
and the
us.
dancing cat ladies with a waving emoji.
Yay.
We missed those emojis. Martin says, I got a Canon 7D Mark II and a 300mm 2.8 and 2x converter. What focal range will I be having, including the crop sensor, please? 7D2 is 1.6.
1.6.
Right?
Yeah.
So 300mm times 2 times 1.6.
Yeah, we better calculate it to be exact.
920 odd.
All right.
Has he done it in his head?
1.6.
You don't know what you
960.
Close.
What did you
960.
920.
I feel well. Give
900
There we go.
something.
960.
Yep.
Or if you do maths the way James does, you get 920.
Yes, get close and go.
I don't know if that's beneficial for discounts.
Ooh, there we go.
Graham says, "Good man, bloody touchscreens," with an angry emoji. Yeah, there we go.
It depends. So I kind of, as I said, touchscreens are cool. I like touchscreens. It just depends on how you use them. I don't like them for taking the shots, but for reviewing the shots, it's really wonderful. But then equally, so you can tweak it pretty much as you want. You can even ignore halves or quadrants or whatever. Horses for courses, really. How you want to use it is how you use it. But I have them all turned off on mine, to be fair.
It's like just having the features available, and then you get to pick and choose what you think is best for you, isn't it? I think it's a better way of being very prescriptive.
Yeah, definitely.
So Andrew says, "Is there a single native ISO or dual?" I think that was when you were talking about the GFX ISO settings.
So base ISO is 100.
Cool. Yeah. Excellent. Hope that helps, Andrew. Let us know if it doesn't, and we'll clarify. Gwynvor said, "Just joined, still recovering from a Cambrian visit." I don't know what you mean. That was a very cheap visit, was it not? Thanks for all your valuable advice. Great to see and meet everyone. It was great to see you too. Yeah, it was really good. It's just nice to see customers, isn't it? So there we go. And then Stuart says, "I've been researching these things since that man made me hold one earlier when I collected my prints." That was
the chat with the black and white shots of the beach. Yeah, really good shots. Sorry, not sorry.
We'll see you next week to tell you what.
Just for his research, the lens that you saw was the 80mm f1.7. I also suggested 23mm f4 or the 3264 as well.
Feels like there needs to be a smile and a wink at the end of the There it is.
Pound signs in his emoji eyes.
Yeah.
And then Graham says, "Does the XT3 and 4 do this focus stacky thing?"
Which I think comes back round to the question that you asked as well.
And then Tina says, "Just got in, lol." Hello, Tina. There we go.
I'm going to need to get better at this switching, It's your quick quips that do me in.
Oh, might be. I'll be slower next time. Hey, Paul, I'm going to make a funny.
Oh no, we're already on our camera. You make me try and switch camera to a camera that we're already on. Oh,
dude, what should I do next?
Did we get an answer on the?
No, if you can keep mentioning it.
Oh, okay. So moving on to the next question.
So, what's the meaning of life, James?
Peaceful coexistence.
I thought it was 42. No.
That's a Hitchhiker's reference, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
If you ask Alexa and other digital audio assistants, they say 42 apparently. But there we go. On the GFX, what, in terms of battery life compared to DSLR, I'm just going through those questions that kind of people go, but.
Yeah. So battery life. So if you look at the CEPA ratings, because of course that's kind of a benchmark for everyone. CEPA ratings for the 100S with the MP-W235 battery, which is the same as on the XT4. I think it's about 460 shots, give or take, ish. But that's CEPA testing. Now, CEPA testing has to be a benchmark for everyone. it's like with cars, you've got to have kind of a benchmark of
He loves the car reference.
Everyone kind of gets a car. It's all good. It's a common thing. But you've got to have a kind of a reference on how people use their cameras to find out kind of battery life, because the three of us in here, we all use our cameras in slightly different ways for different things. So we'll all get different battery drains.
I don't use my screen. I'm a diehard.
You get an X-Pro 3. I think you like it. So the
100% would just be always down, so I can see it.
So the battery life they do a standardized test that kind of tries to reflect how an overall general photographer will interact with the camera. So you're reviewing images, playing with the menus, autofocusing a certain amount, flashing on this jazz. But it gives you a baseline. So 460 shots relatively sounds like not a lot, especially when you compare it to an SLR, which can be in the 800-900 shots, maybe 1,000 or so. But that's because mirrorless cameras overall, not just Fujifilm, but all mirrorless cameras are essentially running in live view the whole time. Yeah. And if you were to take an SLR and run it in live view, you'll find the battery life is probably about the same, maybe a little bit better, probably a little bit worse. So that's CEPA, but in real life, and this is the same across our whole range, in real life I tend to get somewhere in the region of about 700 to 900 shots-ish, give or take, depending on what I'm doing. I've been demoing the 100S and playing with it for the last couple of days, and that's on one battery charge, and it's probably getting a little bit tired now. Yeah, it's probably a little bit tired. Well, the good thing would have been to not leave the spare battery out on the shop floor. That would have been good.
Yeah.
So that's done, a couple of days worth of demoing. So don't worry too much about the CEPA numbers. In general day-to-day life, 700 to 900 shots-ish, depending on how you use it. A couple of things I do with all my cameras just to make life easier. I have in fact, I'll show you on the screen. So if we go through to down on the span down here and go into power management, I have the auto power off turned off. And I do that so that the camera is not waiting to turn off, because you've got kind of 15 seconds, which is just why, because every time you stop looking at it, it's just going to turn itself off. Usually 1 or 2 minutes is the standard. But if you do that 10 times a day, which is actually not that much, if you're using the camera and just leave it to turn itself off 10 times a day, that's 20 minutes of camera use where it's analysing the scene, it's showing everything on the rear screen and the viewfinder bits and bobs, where it's not actually doing anything. So that's quite a lot of battery usage of nothing. So when I'm not taking a photograph, I turn it off. When I am, I turn it on. Because the on-off switches are around the shutter buttons generally, I have to find where the shutter button is to take the shot. So I turn it on and bring it up to my eye. Other things I have on here, I always run my cameras in boost mode all the time.
Oh, boost mode. I mean, was it XT2 that had the grip and it had turbo and boost mode?
So yeah, I think the X Pro 2 had economy or high performance.
Yeah.
But the problem with putting high performance on it is that if you're not using high performance, you must be using low performance. So you just put it all in boost. So boost mode is essentially high performance.
Because didn't it on the XT2 release more frames per second and stuff like that?
Yeah, the XT2 boost mode gave you faster refresh rate on the viewfinder. It gave you more frames per second. It gave you slightly faster focusing speed as well.
I just like the fact it said boost when I get out of the box. I was like, ooh, boost mode. Press it.
Yeah, that's a button that I want to push. Yeah.
Exactly. So I always run them in boost anyway. You do get a slight degradation in battery life, but not much at all. Not enough that if you said to me, after this battery, will you boost mode or normal, I could tell you, I wouldn't bet the camera on it. So I always run it in boost. On this one, you've got the options of autofocus speed, autofocus in low light, which will change the way the viewfinder displays as well. So it's slightly better in low light. EVX resolution priority, so it'll run it up to 85 frames per second instead of 50. Sorry, resolution makes it 1500 lines on the viewfinder instead of 1000. And EVF frame rate priority will give you 85 frames per second. 50. I can't, but that doesn't mean that others won't. And if you're doing extremely detailed kind of macro shots or anything like that, then I would always run it in the higher priority if possible. By default, I tend to have it set to refresh rate priority because I'm moving the camera around a lot. I would rather have it refresh faster than have perhaps slightly more detail or different, or be boosted basically for the low light. Personal preference, we've got the options on there. And then Again, shooting standby mode off, auto power save off, auto power off, temperature standard or higher than standard, because I'm not doing a lot of video. But I also as well have, for the connection settings, I have my Bluetooth turned off as standard, so it's not looking to transfer any data over. And that's pretty much it, really. So that will help as well. Turn the camera off with all the settings like that. Turn to kind of go faster or off will help battery life too.
Cool. Now we've had a comment.
Go for it.
Will the 7300 ever be available? Yes, it will. And it has started coming through. It's just a very popular lens. And the whole world situation combined with shipping, etc. It's just.
I think there's a lot of.
And apparently there was like a fire in an audio
there's lots
manufacturing parts thing. So yeah, they'll be here soon. We have started seeing them come through. So, but on that.
Yeah, I've got the 7300 here, so good segue.
Hold on, no,
This is I've turned the GFX off.
And we've lost camera 2.
Oh, okay.
The battery
So there we go.
There's a 7300 because when I was on here before,
You're going to go and check
I talked about a 7300, but do you want me to swap chairs?
You could do.
Yeah, keep all up.
You kick all off. Is it the battery?
Yeah. You know why, don't you?
Because we said an hour.
No, that's not a Fujifilm camera.
Oh, shots fired. How long is this one going to last?
There we go. Not long, because we said an hour and we're over an hour.
Okay.
I've been doing stuff on my cameras all day.
That's true.
Yeah.
So that's the 7300. As I said before on the last time I was on, I ran you through kind of the spec of it, but I didn't have one to physically show you in comparison. That's Joel's got the 55200.
Together.
They are similar kind of sizes, but I think you'd agree that the 7300 feels a bit lighter.
Yeah. Sorry, thought it was rhetorical.
It's just in his dominant hand.
Yeah, no, it is lighter.
It is, isn't it? So
because I had to check then which one I was holding.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's a struggle for me when I'm looking in the bag quickly to find out which is which. So I had to kind of.
You just need to spray paint one.
It's a first world problem. I basically put them in different bags and then I can't. So.
Also, this says 100 to 400. That's not going to help the situation.
That's
a naffle.
Yeah, that's our conspiracy to try and pinch the 7300 from James on as he walks out of the shop. So, well, I think we're there, Joel. I'm very cautious now about camera 1 going down since we've already lost the camera.
We'll have James come back another time.
100%.
Because we were going to talk about the XE4, which is I had a play today and it's very good, especially with a grip system on it.
Okay.
The grip, which has Arca Swiss, and also the thumb grip. The thumb grip feels. Have you had the?
I was playing with it today. Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah,
it's great.
And I like having, like you said, the Arca Swiss,
and also the 27mm.
The sharp eye amongst you will see that's the previous version.
Yes, because it doesn't have an aperture.
Correct.
But everything else, apart from weather sealing, it's like cool.
Yeah,
because they didn't change the glass, did they?
No, it was problem first time, so they left it as it was.
Why change what you got right the first time?
Indeed,
Yeah, exactly.
Indeed. Is it XE4 weather sealed?
The XE4 is not.
Okay, cool. But if you put the 27 on an XT4.
Ooh,
jobs are good.
You're away.
Yeah.
You're absolutely away. Well,
as far as the focus bracketing goes, I'm going to check that all and put it in the comments.
Okay, just to confirm. We've had some people sort of coming back to us saying
little recording for 5 minutes and then link to it in the comment section.
I'm not reading the WhatsApps. I haven't got WhatsApp open because I don't know defense and that. It's just a whole load of abuse.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, and I should.
Well, we are at that time now. So even though we can't bring you back on camera, James, big thank you for not only coming on Photography Out Loud today, but also for having the install demo day as well. So it's been wonderful having you.
Well, thanks very much for having me. It's been good fun. I've enjoyed it.
Yeah,
and hopefully we'll see you again in the not too distant future.
Yeah, absolutely.
For another episode of Talking with James. We should come up with a segment.
Talking with James.
Yeah. Chatting with James.
Yeah. Well, if we put it in writing, then he has to, then, doesn't he? So.
We'll get him his own logo.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to do our own logo yet. But...
Oh no, yeah. Oh dear me. So, but we're getting there. We're getting there, aren't we? So, Joel, any final thoughts before we break up for the weekend?
No.
I'm
Just
not used
have
to
it, just
asking
have
these
it.
questions when you're right next to me. It
I know.
feels weird. You know, when I'm looking at my screen,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
feels like, right, but there we go.
Hopefully the weather's nice. Make sure you wear sunblock.
Yes, it's going to be another hot one. Apparently.
Nobody wants anything bad with their skin.
No, definitely not. So, well, thank you very much, Joel.
Thank
James,
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
And a big thank you to everyone watching as well.
100%.
Some loads of comments coming in again, Joel. So
Yep.
it's been wonderful having you here live.
Stop slouching.
Oh yeah, the posture arrangement for the new look. So yeah, big thank you for big thank you for your comments and tuning in live. You can always rewatch these videos at any time as well. So all you need to do is search for #photography out loud. You can go onto our Facebook and YouTube channels and oh no,
Likey.
Yeah, that's
share, subscribe. Maybe we need to get Johnny Mo to do a little video segment.
Yeah,
and just pop it in.
I need to just script this out so I don't need to do it live, and then it's all
kind of
good.
more fun when you don't.
Yeah, one day I'll get it right. Please make sure that you like this video.
Pigs will also fly.
Pigs will also fly. Oh no, I haven't queued up the video thing either. So
amateur hour.
thank you everyone, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye for now.
Cheers. Bye now.